Hey, hey, happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. This is live stream 818. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then normally we take a look at a tabletop game. Every once in a while, I'll do a review. But for the most part, we usually stick to the first looks here on the Dispatch. And tonight is no different. I am going to be diving on in and paging through the Battlezoo Bestiary for Pathfinder 2nd edition from Roll for Combat. And we will be taking a peek at this in just a bit. And I got to say, it looks kind of interesting from what I have seen online about it. I have not cracked this open yet, so it is going to be just as new to me as it is to you. Then again, there might be some of you out there who are already like, no, I know all about that. So there is that possibility as well. Also, do want to mention, if you're not familiar with how the show works, I do tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So if you are tuning in live because you want to check out the Battlezoo Bestiary for Pathfinder, kick back, relax, put your feet up, pamper yourself for a bit. We will get to it in probably about 30 to 35 minutes or so. So just keep that in mind. I also want to remind you, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. And of course, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. One of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you have to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours to take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So first out the gate tonight was Mr. Eddie T. Yes, one of our chat moderators. Jason Bratley's with us. Testy Trekkie 245 Trioxin is with us as well. Kathy Evans is hanging out. And another one of our chat moderators, Flaming Huron, is with us from Australia. And if Mr. Eddie T's hanging around, that must mean Sarah D can't be far behind. Then again, maybe she's just lurking. Never know, never know. So welcome aboard, everybody. Jason points out Spelljammer is delayed until September in the UK. To quote a certain sci-fi show, Come! Wow, talk about two actors chewing the scenery, eh? Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan. I don't know. To be honest, I think I got to give it to Ricardo, though. I think he chews the scenery a bit harder than the Shatner does. That's how we refer to William Shatner in these here parts. We call him the Shatner because we got a little history with him. Not me personally, Elliot more so than I do, but yes, kind of funny. Jason says, "Awesome Kirk there, Jeff." All you gotta do is just channel your inner ham, and you'll be a-okay. So, Jason points out that Spelljammer is delayed. I don't think it's delayed. I think that's the actual release date is September. Because if I remember correctly, the North American release date was, of course, the 16th. Yesterday. That's why I had my review for it. But if I remember correctly on the Wizards of the Coast website, it did mention a September release elsewhere, including the UK. Tessie Trekkie says Inner Ham is Brian Blessed in Flash Gordon. I like Brian Blessed a lot. I think he is excellent. I love him in Henry V. Oh, he's so good in that. So good. And he's got that voice. He has that voice. It's just like, yes. And he's in Blackadder, the first series, which isn't all that great. I know, sacrilege. What am I saying? Actually, my favorite Blackadder is Blackadder Goes Forth. Gordon's alive. Like the Queen theme song sampled that, and then they have it like echo. It's like alive, 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 alive. All right, so we're off and rocking tonight. So I am going to jump into the news in just a moment, but I did want to mention something. I'm kind of bouncing around. Let me know in chat or in the comments section if you are not watching live, if you think I'm nuts to do this or what, but I really want to get my hands on the Forgotten Realms Magic the Gathering cards. I don't need to have them all. I just kind of would like to have some to play it. And I know my best friend Elliot, I should just say Elliot, because all of you know who he is. Yes, he's coming back to the gaming gang one of these years. Of course, he's just getting over COVID right now, so I can't really bust his chops too much. But he's gotten back into playing Magic Arena, which I haven't played much in a while. But I kind of want those Forgotten Realms cards. But they don't sell them in a set. You got to buy them as boosters. And I'm like, oh, come on. So I'm hemming and hawing. So Tessie Trekkie says Blackadder Goes Forth's ending was pitch perfect. Yes, it really was. It's funny. A lot of no spoilers here because obviously the show's decades old. But Blackadder usually dies. So at the end of his series. So that was kind of moving. It really was. Usually it's kind of like, oh, well, he's being executed or whatever. But no, that was a little different. That was a little different. Colonel Darling, wasn't that his nemesis? Colonel Darling, who actually ends up going over the top with them as well. All right, Clint Gibson is joining us in chat also. So let's jump on into the news because hitting stores next month from Grand Gamers Guild is Aldabas Doors of Cartagena. Here's what I know. In Cartagena, Colombia, the doors speak, not with words, but with the grandiose knockers that adorn them. Mine out of the gutter, everybody. Knockers, okay? Knock, knock, knock. In Spanish colonial times, the knockers announced your job and your social status with the design and detail. Lions, lizards, sea creatures, and hands proclaimed the home's occupants as soldiers, nobles, fishermen, and clergy. Aldabas is a puzzly tableau builder in which you seek to fill your neighborhood with the most influential citizens. On each turn, players will take actions to build their neighborhood or increase their wealth. Clever placement will unlock bonuses, but only if you build in the right way. Those who keep the best company and the fullest coffers will surely be held in the highest regard. Aldabas, Doors of Cartagena, is for 1 to 4 players ages 13 and up. Plays in around 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $24.99 when it arrives September 7th. I like the art style in these. I think this just sounds like kind of an interesting little game. Obviously, it's a card game. It's a bit of a tableau builder. Takes a half hour, 45 minutes to play. MSRP is nice, about 25 bucks. Could be kind of cool. And you'll notice the cards have a lot of iconography on them. So no doubt you're trying to put together combos, I would guess. So it looks kind of cool. Russell Higgins has joined us in chat, saying that they only like their knockers if they come in a matched pair. Also points out Total Recall weirded him out. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about there. We're not talking about the little baby extending from the rebel's chest. No, that wasn't the freak out. No. Tessie Trekkie said, who'd notice another madman in this war? Yes, we know what that is from. So Jason says they do a knockers joke, but then they'd feel like kind of a boob. Dun-dun-dun. Arriving next month from Smirk and Dagger is The Spill. Here's the skinny. Offshore rig Deep Well 4 has blown out, and the rupture is spilling crude oil into the ocean at an alarming rate. So this is a feel-good game. Your response team must work together using your individual talents to avert an ecological disaster, one which threatens to contaminate marine life and devastate the ecosystem. The situation is dire and escalating by the minute, so there is no time to waste. Contain the oil flowing from the rig. Remove what oil you can from the waters. Rescue the marine animals. The world is watching. The fate of the coast is in your hands. This fully cooperative game for 1 to 4 players features a 4-way dice tower as the oil rig, which randomly drops oil dice onto the 4 quadrants of the game board. In this respect, the game is a reverse tower defense game, as players sail the perimeter trying to push back and contain the oil, remove dice from the water, and save the sea life. Communal resource cards are chosen by the team before the game begins and are then powered for use by either removing 3 oil dice from the game or saving a full set of 6 marine creatures. Weather dice complicate matters, adding new challenges for that round that restrict movement, drop more dice, or increase the cost of operations. It takes coordination and teamwork to win, as new oil dice are dropped at the beginning of every turn, and the number of oil dice dropped increases over the course of the game. If the team can accomplish all 3 objectives on their win condition card and remedy any potential losing conditions on the board by the end of a given turn, they win. Otherwise, the game will end when the 60 dice from the bag are exhausted or they are unable to correct one of the 3 losing conditions. Contain the oil. Save the sea life. I was going to do a hero's joke there, but I was like, well, people even get the, save the cheerleader. The Spill is for, once again, 1 to 4 players. It's for ages 13 and up. Plays in around 50 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it also arrives on September 7th. This looks kind of interesting. I like the fact that you've got a variety of different win condition cards. So each time you play, it can be very different. So I think that is kind of cool. Russell asked, does Spill have a Kraken? No, you do not get to unleash the Kraken. So Russell says if it has zombies or aliens, they're in. Otherwise, it's too close to life, imitating reality. Well, there is that. Kevin R. Smith is with us in chat as well. We got a nice chat off and running so far today. Now available from author John Battle and Exalted Funeral is the Sun King's Palace. And here's the scoop on this OSR adventure. A crumbling tower hides on the Sunbroke Sea, the last relic of the second sun in our world. Sail out on the full moon and reflect its light with a golden mirror. Follow the trail to its end and enter the Sun King's Palace. What is the Sun King's Palace? The Sun King's Palace is a dungeon crawl unlike any other. Explore an ancient elven palace that has fallen into the abyss. Talk to the weirdos that inhabit it and uncover its many secrets. It's fully statted for OSR and OSR adjacent games, and each stat block has page numbers for the 5e Monster Manual. If you're looking for a dungeon with a focus on role-playing, conversation, and exploration, the Sun King's Palace will scratch those itches. The 196-page hardcover and PDF together are available through Exalted Funeral for $50. Looks kind of cool. Plus, I like the idea. For one, it's an OSR dungeon crawl, but it's also focused on exploration and conversation. So there are going to be some social challenges that the players will be looking for. So pretty nice. Pretty nice. I think that it looks pretty interesting. And as far as I understand, now I might be wrong, but I think John Battle goes by the nickname Bat, B-A-T-T, and is actually pretty well known for some fantasy role-playing game releases. So there is that as well. Following a successful Kickstarter for Mythopoeia, taking a stab, the fantasy role-playing game The Wild Sea is now available for pre-order. And here's what I know. Some 300 years ago, the empires of the world were toppled by a wave of fast-growing greenery, a tide of rampant growth spilling from the west, known as the Verdancy, or Verdancy. I guess we'll go Verdancy. Now chainsaw-driven ships cut their way across dense tabletop waves, their engines powered by oil fruit, rope golems, honey, and pride. You play a wind sailor, part of a motley crew consisting of humanity's weathered descendants, cactoid gunslingers, centipedal fungi, silk-clothed spider folk, and other stranger things. So cactoid gunslingers aren't strange? With your fellow crew members, you'll journey across the linging tide, discovering charts, pursuing drives, and avoiding mires of the deep. The wild sea hungers and grows, roots sinking deep into the forest floor as the waves above ripple with life. What will you discover in its depths? The Wild Sea is a fiction-first role-playing game with narrative and character decisions driving your interaction with the mechanics of the Wild Words engine. The game uses a D6 narrative dice pool system that constantly pushes the story forward. The 360-page hardcover for The Wild Sea can be pre-ordered right now for $59. If you'd like, you can go the path of the PDF for $30, and expected delivery is this fall. Do want to mention that this is actually fulfilling to Kickstarter backers within the next week or two. It's supposed to. And then it'll make its way into retail or be available for you to purchase. And this looks pretty damn cool. So I wanted to share it because this looks very, very interesting. This would be something I would really want to take a peek at. And I believe the physical book itself has more of a landscape layout. So it is not your traditional like 8.5 by 11 hardcover. So this has a bit of a, almost like a, what they used to call a, oh my God, coffee table book. I know most people don't even have any idea these days what a coffee table would be. So it took me a second. I'm like, what am I thinking of here? Oh yeah, coffee table book. But the artwork looks pretty cool. Man, this could be very, very interesting. And of course, it is narrative first. So I always like seeing that as well. Sly Blue Demon is with us in chat. Thank you very much for coming and swinging by and joining us once again. Let's move on to my final news piece because there is a new adventure which has arrived for Achtung Cthulhu 2D20. And here's the latest on Operation Snowstorm. When Outpost Epsilon 3, a remote research post in British Columbia, goes radio silent for over a week, majestic suspicions are aroused. An experienced team of agents is quickly delivered to the nearby snowbound town of Dunley and ordered to investigate. As they navigate the hazardous path to the base, their progress is made more difficult by a dangerous blizzard, considerable natural hazards, and some strangely disturbed wildlife. Once they reach their destination, they find the outpost near abandoned. Spoilers! And the few remaining majestic operatives in the grip of some strange delusion, and also prey to some rather unwholesome appetites. What can it have triggered such a frenzied state? What other terrors lurk within the base's walls? And why has the activity aroused the particular interest of the local Pathfinder demon hunters? Working with these powerful new allies, the agents will have to discover the truth behind a long-buried secret and confront a monstrous threat far older and more terrifying than the secret war itself. Can the agents succeed in their unenviable task, or will they be buried in the frozen wastes of Operation Snowstorm? This contains a 32-page standalone mid to late war mission for 4 to 6 agents in both standard and printer-friendly formats. It can be run as a one-off adventure or easily incorporated into ongoing campaigns. Explore the wilds of British Columbia, experience deadly wildlife, natural hazards, strange influenced foes, and recruit the Pathfinder demon hunters as your allies. It's deadly by design. Expect casualties and a high rate of attrition. You may not wish to risk your main agents on this mission. Features maps, playing aids, and handouts to enhance the playing experience for both players and GMs. Do want to point out, of course, you do need the Achtung Cthulhu 2D20 core books in order to run this adventure. This 32-page PDF is available over at Drive-Thru RPG for $7. Yay! I wish there were some monster images I could have shared because Modiphius Entertainment sent me a review PDF, but unfortunately, there aren't. It's just like a lot of maps. I was like, okay. Jason points out the Achtung Cthulhu 2D20 core books are awesome. Yes, we've reviewed them at the Gaming Gang. I have not personally, but we do have reviews of both the books. I keep trying to see if I can get physical copies of them so I can share some video coverage of them. It's not unusual for us to do more than one review on a product. So sometimes one of my correspondents will review the PDF. I'll review the physical release. So we've got that as well. Russell says that his Dust 1947 antenna are up. A 10A. That is a game that really, I don't know. Paolo Parente. I always forget how to pronounce his last name. I don't know. Just really doesn't. It's not with FFG anymore. So, although Paolo was very cool, I got to interview him when I lived out in Arizona. He came out there to the Phoenix area for a Dust tournament because even though he is from, if I remember right, he's from Spain, he lives in China. So Russell says Dust 1947 folded. There you go. There you have it. So pretty cool art. But yeah, it was really funny. I got to interview him, and I was one of the only people in the US who had interviewed him. And he had done tons of artwork for Magic the Gathering. Of course, Dust started out just as his art and became a game out of it. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. That is it for the news tonight. Yes. Lots of goodies there. Lots of goodies. I'm telling you, the Wild Sea looks pretty cool. I almost said pretty wild, but yeah. Of course, I was talking about Drive-Thru RPG there. And, of course, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG or Storyteller's Vault, DM's Guild, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what I do and the team does, you can always swing over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And thanks to everybody out there who has stopped by and kicked a few bucks our way, either through the paypal.me link or through Drive-Thru RPG and the One Bookshelf site banners. So big thumbs up. Thank you very kindly. Definitely a lifesaver, I guess we'll say. Russell says that Pablo's art is great. The game never could figure out what it was. The miniatures were too ambitious and difficult to print and paint. Yes, and there was, in my opinion, the art and the game, there was a disconnect. So there was a lot of cheesecake to the Dust artwork that didn't necessarily carry over to the game itself. So it was kind of, all right, Jason's got to rock out. Thank you kindly for stopping in. We will see you next time. Okay, so once again, I'm going to be taking a look at the Battlezoo Bestiary for Pathfinder 2E in just a few moments. But first, before we do that, I do want to remind you, tomorrow I will be featuring a standalone unboxing video for Flashpoint South China Sea, because I am looking forward to trying to get this to the table this weekend. Looking good, looking good. It's supposed to be relatively easy to learn, so that'll be a bonus to get it to the table, probably with my nephew Cameron, who turns 21 this weekend. So we are having a party for him on Saturday. So that'll be pretty cool. And I'm hoping maybe get some gaming in with him on maybe Friday night. Don't know. We'll find out. We shall see. All right. Anyway, just wanted to remind you of that as well. Okay, so tonight, as I mentioned, I'm going to be taking a look at the Battlezoo Bestiary for Pathfinder. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's refreshment time, and our refreshment stand is loaded with good things to eat. There's crispy, crunchy popcorn, and hot, delicious buttered popcorn, lots of candy, and frosty, refreshing cold drinks. Why not treat yourself at the Refreshment Center now?
Do you want to walk a dog? It's something very special to carry a large Coke and a delicious hot dog wherever you're going. And it's a real money saver. The regular price for a large Coke, 35 cents. Hot dog, 40 cents. But with a walk-a-dog, all for 55 cents. Walk. Don't run to the snack bar now.
Got your parachute?
I forgot it.
How about the Wilkins coffee?
I forgot that too.
You'll never forget this.
It all started when I discovered wheels. You know, these wheel-shaped cheese-flavored snacks that taste so... cheese-flavored. Anyhow, I was fixing a tray of wheels when suddenly I saw a wheel stealer.
I am a wheel stealer. Ha, ha, ha.
And he ate up all my wheels. So then I fixed a tray of flutes, these flute-shaped snacks with a butternut flavor. But when I turned my back, a flute snatcher got them.
The flute snatcher strikes again!
So then I bought crowns, crown-shaped snacks with the scrumptious corn-roasted flavor, and I was enjoying their corny crunchiness when I realized the character on the TV screen was in reality a crown grabber. Crowns! So that's it, friends. When you eat wheels, flutes, and crowns, you're going to meet wheel stealers, flute snatchers, and crown grabbers. But beware, they're very sneaky and have all kinds of disguises. Why, there may be some in your house right now.
That one creature looks suspiciously like the Cookie Monster. Yes, he's a wheel stealer. Everybody's jumping on board that. They're like, oh my gosh, Cookie Monster is a wheel stealer. Well, Cookie Monster didn't have all those teeth, though, or doesn't have all those teeth. And yes, Sam the Eagle is a crown grabber. Damn you, crown grabber. And of course, Wontkins, no! You won't be forgetting this. Yeah, so a little double dip of Jim Henson commercials for you there. And I find it incredible just how many commercials the Muppets were in before they were the Muppets. It's wild. It's like they didn't have a show. In fact, the first Muppet, here's a little trivia item for you. First Muppet to actually be featured on a TV show was Rolf the dog. And if I remember correctly, I think he was on the John Davidson show. So, and no, I am not old enough to have remembered that. Oh, yes, I remember that as a child watching that. And I was watching that. I'd be like, oh, this certainly is not like Ed Sullivan. No, I'm not that old. But yeah, isn't that pretty wild? Rolf the dog, first Muppet to be featured on a TV show. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Not Kermit. Pretty strange. All righty. So tonight, I am going to be taking a first look and paging through the Battlezoo Bestiary for Pathfinder from Roll for Combat. It is, well, it's not really written. I think they're more the developers of this. Stephen Glicker, Patrick Rini, and Mark Siefter. Artwork provided by a slew of artists. I will give them credit. We'll take a look at the credit page in just a moment. So normally you can get this hardcover. It carries an MSRP of $49.99. There is a print and PDF package over at the Roll for Combat website, which is $50. It's print and PDF. It is on sale right now for $40. So there you got right there. And we have Roll for Combat and Battlezoo for 5e and Pathfinder with us in chat. So any questions that anybody might have, I think we know who you can direct them to. I don't know. Just a feeling I've got. All right, so let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Battlezoo Bestiary for Pathfinder. So this is Pathfinder 2e. Remember last night I showed this for a second and I said I wasn't sure if it was first edition Pathfinder because the trade dress looked a little bit like first edition, but upon closer examination, now that is trade dress for 2e Pathfinder. Do want to point out, I also have a couple of other Roll for Combat books that we'll be looking at in the very near future as well. So, Roll for Combat points out that they developed the monsters. Second part was written by them as well. So you're going to find that there are a lot of entries that were into the RPG Superstar contest that the monsters made it into this book. So there's also a Battlezoo Bestiary for 5e that is different. It is not the same monsters as far as I understand. So also should point out, Roll for Combat is known for their various series of videos. So they've got actual play. They've got just discussions of Pathfinder, things like that. And they must be running out of guests because they've invited me to be on one of their shows. So I guess there's no one left on the internet to talk to except for me. So I don't know. All right. Anyway, the fine folks over at Roll for Combat were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But of course, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And of course, these days, it's very important for you to know that. Also, I'm going to stay picture in picture up here. So as I peek through, I will cut off a little bit of the upper left portion of the book. We're not going to look at the whole book. We're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a really good feel for what's in here. And I do believe there's also a mechanic, almost kind of like Monster Hunter World, where you can use pieces of monsters to create and craft things. So I believe that's in here as well. So let's take a look at the back. Unleash the Horde. Inside the Battlezoo Bestiary, discover a treasure trove of over 100 brand new monsters and villains for your players to confront and overcome at your next game. The creatures in this epic tome represent the best and beastliest submissions from the 2020 RPG Superstar contest, including monstrosities like the sailor-snatching muted delver, the spore-sowing fungal raptor, and the mind-melting orb of insanity. The Battlezoo Bestiary also includes the new monster parts system. That's what I was talking about. Perfect for monster slayers who want to turn all those freshly collected Artodemon horns and parrot bear feathers into custom items and equipment. Completely compatible with Pathfinder 2nd Edition and full of rich inspiration for any fantasy game system, this book is a one-of-a-kind compendium useful for game masters and players alike. All right, then it talks about what's in here, but we're going to see what's in here. Let's crack this on open. We got a little old school Renaissance kind of artwork there to kick off. It's kind of cool. Okay, so here are the credits. Here are all the authors for the monsters. And then talking about the development and design. And then we've got all of our artists, the RPG Superstar judges as well. So give those folks a little bit of credit. And we have the standard edition cover. There is also a collector's edition. I believe off the top of my head, I think I saw that it is $79.99 for the collector's edition. I don't know if that's still available or not. It might be sold out. I know who you could ask in chat. So, Roll for Combat says that the Battlezoo Bestiary for 5e is the same monsters, different stats, and it's completely developed for 5e. There we go. All right, so we're going to dive on in. So we get our introduction there. That looks like, I think that's the artwork from the collector's edition cover there as well. And then we're going to jump on in. So we get a breakdown of how do you read these stat blocks. And right on in. So the first thing I noticed that I think is kind of cool is it's going to show who the creator of the monster was for the contest. And also shows that they won the Copper Award. So that's kind of cool. You don't see that a lot with bestiaries, which feature a lot of creators. We don't necessarily see each entry get an author credit on it. I think that's very nice. I think that's very cool. So remember, we've got about 100. Christopher Rush is with us, just popping on in, saying, oh, they just woke up. So, well, you're just in time. We're diving on into the Battlezoo Bestiary for Pathfinder. Pretty cool artwork. So I'm going to skip pages. It's the blood mouse. It's a prestigious pet. In certain high society circles, people have tried to domesticate blood mice to serve as pets. To avoid having their blood sucked, some keepers remove their blood mouse's proboscis, in which case the rodent must be hand-fed. It's got a little needle. All righty. The Butcher Booth, a gold award winner. Ooh. Looks like it's kind of a mimic-ish creature. Constructed companion. So we've got a few different constructed companions. Mechanical Mater D and the Automatic Acolytes. Oh, so these are Platinum Award winners. Same author. Tessie Trekkie asks, can they have a blood mouse familiar? If you're picking this up, yes, you can. So, Roll for Combat points out, Platinum and Grand Prize developed a family. Huh. The Dundrath. It's kind of like a bipedal mammoth. It's the Eco. The Feldhag. I like the artwork. The artwork so far, very nicely done. And one thing that I always like to see, it's relatively uniform in style. Now, of course, I'm going to turn the page. We're going to see something completely different. Gamalion. Gamalion, mate. So it is a parrot pirate. It's the giant glaucous slug. So as we can see, each of these creatures or villains, we're going to probably see some villains flaming here. It says, Toucan Sam. Yes, when Toucan Sam goes bad. He overdosed on those Fruit Loops, and that was it. That was the end. Got the hook hanger. The husk. Kind of a tree creature. An arboreal husk. Arboreal husks typically manifest from arboreal wardens, regents, and other arboreals who fail to protect their forest wards from evil depredations. These broken-hearted, twisted guardians of the trees go on to sow the same kinds of despair they felt upon seeing their homes so ravaged. Husks are sort of undead plants, points out Roll for Combat. It's a jungle mantis swarm. The Knotsman. So it is a rope creature. The rope remembers. Though they lack true intelligence, Knotsmen boast curious personalities. A Knotsman's disposition generally reflects the type of rope used to create it. All right. So, for an example, a Knotsman made of ship's rigging might serve its captain faithfully, while one woven from a hangman's noose could be as treacherous as the criminal that once swung from it. Or I would think, if it was a hangman's noose, it might be always seeking justice. Dun, dun, dun. So get the living blade. Very interesting. I've pointed out before that as far as with fantasy role-playing games, the books that tend to sell very well are player-facing option books and bestiaries. And coming in a close third, spell collections. But the player-facing options and the bestiaries always do very, very well. And I got to say, so far, these look very unique, very interesting. Here's the Muted Delver that was mentioned on the back cover. A creature of quiet, gleeful malice. The Muted Delver is a gigantic monstrosity that stalks the loneliest corners of the deepest seas. It climbs aboard ships and glides across the decks, silent as a shadow, so that it can devour the crew one by one and drive any survivors mad. It's space madness. The cherry red button. Yes, I know it's not proper to discuss that show any longer, or at least its scumbag creator. But still got to point out that was, for its time, one of the funnier shows that was out there. It's for you. The Orb of Insanity. This was also mentioned on the back. In the dark corners of the material plane, elder things sleep. Sometimes when an inquisitive soul uses a crystal ball to scry on one of these entities, the entity gazes back. Such an entity can possess the crystal ball and absorb the essence of its beholder by caging the scryer in a prison of glass. The entity then animates the orb so that it can lose its own malevolent presence from beyond the stars. Oh, I'm sorry. So it can loose, not lose. Tessie Trekkies like cherry red button. Christopher Rush says, don't lose your grip, Jeff. I won't. The Parrot Bear. There's something else that was mentioned on the back cover. We've got a phased tiger. The Ruin Bruiser. Ruin Bruisers are stony agents of entropy, stout constructs made of heavy marble, inlaid with bands of bronze, whose sole aims are to expedite the natural deterioration of architecture and items in ancient and abandoned castles, dungeons, and vaults. Haha. It's the history eraser button, you fool. Yes, thank you, 245 Trioxin. So Kevin says, for once, they're too young to get the reference. Oh, no, you aren't. You just probably something you didn't watch. Right. So we've got Salt Stalkers. So we have a Salt Glider, the Salt Mother. It's the giant sea squirt. So which is it? Is it a squirt or is it giant? Hey, Squid. The Scroll Mold. Molds are such a bizarre creature to toss at players. It's like yellow molds and stuff like that. Yes, Christopher Rush is correct. It is Ren and Stimpy. Which, unfortunately, the creator of Ren and Stimpy makes R. Kelly look... Well, no, he still looks like a piece of shit, but he's kind of in the same ballpark as R. Kelly. So we got the Shadow Thief, Shale Spitters. So these are grand prize winners here. The Shale Charger, the Obsidian Shale Beast, the Shale Behemoth. It's a Shingle Lurk. Oh, you thought I was just run-of-the-mill shingles on this rooftop, but no, that's not the case. Kevin says, yes, okay, they only saw like 2 episodes of the show. Like the first season was funny, and then it got a second season, and it was just crappy. And then anything after that was just junk. So we got the Sightbound Spirits. These are also Platinum Award winners. So we got the Wispy Wayfarer, the Dishrag Dervish, the Curtain Caller, a lot of goodies in here. The Springjaw Dowel. There you go. That's right in there with Annabelle. Put those 2 in your collection. We've got the Swarm Assassin. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Won't even try. But I do like the artwork. Yeah, this is an impressive looking book, gang. At least I think so. I think this looks very, very cool. It's the Zuggle. Could I get a hug? Watch, it's like some insane killer thing. But it looks cute. It explodes, kills everybody in the room. Yes, 245 Trioxin points out all these monsters, but no wheel stealers. I know. No crown grabbers. So here's the monster parts section. The monster parts system allows PCs to upgrade weapons and armor using pieces from foes they defeat. It is a perfect fit for adventures that take place far from civilization, where the PCs need to scrounge and forage for all the gear they need. Cool. So, quick start guide for PCs. Step 1, slay monsters. Step 2, gather ingredients. Step 3, refine item. And step 4, imbue item. Quick start guide for GMs. Choose a variant. Determine monster parts as treasure. Communicate with your players. And step 4, play the game. I noticed the GM's expression doesn't really change. Christopher Rush says, harvesting body parts? Tessie Trekkie points out, they love monster books just for the backgrounds and ecology. Yes. Shane Sangster's with us, says the Zuggle needs a mushroom and a hookah. And a little Gray Slick singing in the background. Flaming Heron asks, where is the talking to monsters and letting them know the error of their ways? I'm big on that. I am huge on faction play. I know that's not a thing really anymore with D&D and Pathfinder, where it's usually just kill it and moved, kill it. So, but I am a firm believer in faction play. And I like throwing my players a curveball with various different monster groups that, remember, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's an important role-playing adage to keep in mind. So Sly Blue Demon says, faction political games are their jam. Yes. So Roll for Combat points out you can get monster parts non-violently as well. Yes, they donate them to the local Goodwill. Kidding. Right, so these are the rules as far as it's different. There's 3 different variants, it looks like, as far as how you would create items. Then looks like we've got various different aspects. So not only do you get the bestiary, you also get these options as far as creating items. And as I mentioned before, it does have kind of a Monster Hunter World vibe to it. And right here, we have monster hunting character options. So we've got some new backgrounds. We have Hunted, Monster Survivor, Poacher. Got the Monster Mage archetype. I believe she's on the cover. And we get into an appendix with a glossary, talking about the creature traits, a new ritual, suggested monster parts. So we actually get a list of the various different creatures in the book and kind of some recommended parts that you might be harvesting or coming up with. That's interesting. We'll point out that the paper stock is very nice. As you can see, it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, but not a lot. It's not a complete matte finish, but the paper quality is really nice. So this will hold up to a lot of repeated use. And we wrap up with our open game license and then Jewel of the Indigo Isles. Ooh, an adventure. Yes. You know me. I love me adventures. And it looks like it utilizes quite a few of the beasties from this bestiary. So it says it's a mega adventure taking characters from level 1 to 11. Nice. And Battlezoo Ancestries Dragons. Unleash your inner dragon. So allowing you to play as a dragon, it looks like. So we've got that as well. Christopher Rush says, okay, what's up with the parrots? Well, you can ask. Shane Sankster, bird people? Roll for Combat points out, yeah, they star in the Jewel of the Indigo Isles adventure. That's what's up with them. All right, that is the Battlezoo Bestiary for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Of course, I will have a review of this in the very near future. So let's swing on over to the other camera. Once again, do want to point out, this carries an MSRP of $49.99. Usually you can get the PDF and print package over at the Roll for Combat website for $50. Currently, it is on sale as I speak for $40. So you can save $10 and get the PDF as well as the hardcover. So pretty sweet deal. All righty then. So next week, it is Southlands week here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. So all week long, we are going to be diving into the Southlands setting, the Southlands area of Midgard from Kobold Press. If you recall, I reviewed the Midgard World Book. Loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Just a complete blast just to read, let alone utilizing it for your campaigns. So Southlands is a section of Midgard, and we are going to dive in. Monday, we'll be taking a look at the World Book. Tuesday, we'll look at the Player's Guide, which obviously is going to give us player options, player character options, I should say. So that'll be on Tuesday's show. And then on Wednesday, we are going to dive on into City of Cats, which is a city book and adventure. So we will take a look at that as well. So all week long, it'll be Southlands from Kobold Press. Also, don't forget, tomorrow I'll be sharing a video unboxing of GMT Games' Flashpoint South China Sea. Yes, I am looking forward to checking this out. So it'll be late afternoon. So it's not going to be like first thing in the morning like my Spelljammer review was. So I figured, I'd get that up and out there before people went to the store. So Christopher Rush says, oh, it's Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Well, they have to bounce towards the 5e version then. So because their group vetoed Pathfinder 2nd Edition rules. That's kind of funny. That's kind of interesting. Well, I mean, Pathfinder is far crunchier than 5e. I noticed people who want like a lot of options for their characters tend to gravitate over towards Pathfinder, whereas people who just want to kind of get up and playing and think they've got a lot of options, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, will go for 5e. So me personally, you know me, I don't have a dog in the fight, really. I'm cool with just about all rule systems, even though I tend to gravitate towards a percentile system like Call of Cthulhu or OSR or Retro Clone. So that's just kind of me. Sir AT's asking, how's my dad doing? My dad's doing pretty good. I had a weird scare today, though. He thought he had possibly had a mild stroke this morning, but I think it's more he slept on his arm wrong. So, because he seemed fine, he was just having a problem with his arm. So we are kind of monitoring that. He has a nurse come in every few days. She happened to come in today, and I had already gone through some of the, stuff that you do to test if you're having a stroke, which obviously if he had had one, he was done having it. But everything was okay. But other than that, he's doing real well. He's out and about. He actually drove the other day. I went with, but he was able to finally get back behind the wheel again because it had been long enough. He had been cleared to do it. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, he's doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. So 245 Tracks and says 5e is to tabletop role-playing games as World of Warcraft was to massive multiplayer online role-playing games. Yeah, funny enough, I'm kind of surprised lately. I get fewer views on the 5e content that goes up there. I mean, I still get decent numbers of views, but there is no 15, 20,000 views anymore on the 5e videos that I put out. And I notice I'm not the only one. So it's not like people are like, oh, I'm not going to check out the Gaming Gang's review because he's honest. And I don't want him raining on my Spelljammer parade. But Sir D points out that they had a coworker have a mini stroke at work. Scary stuff. Yeah, I gotta be honest. Stroke to me is scarier than a heart attack. So knock on wood. Have not had a stroke of any kind. Let's get. I'm actually on a medication that supposedly they say if you are on it, you will never have a stroke. In fact, cardiologists actually take it. So I don't know. It's, it's probably killing me in some other way. So, all right. So, Christopher Rush says, no, that was 4th edition. 5e is more Skyrim. I don't know. 5th edition to me is pretty light. The rules are mechanically, once you wrap your head around the main mechanic of the D20, there isn't a whole lot, outside of that. So Kevin says 5e strikes them more like 2nd edition, where most of your choices are made at the beginning of your career. Pathfinder, both editions, is more like 3e. It's actually, well, the original Pathfinder, everybody liked to call D&D 3.75. So there's that, where you make choices all through your career. Flaming Heron says that they think 5e's losing some steam. I don't know. It's still got plenty of steam. It's just the problem I kind of have is there are just way, way too many shills out there now. And you'll see Wizards of the Coast likes to bring on, this is something fairly recent. They're bringing on people who had these like D&D specific sites, and they're bringing them on board as like experts on 5e. I'm not going to name names or anything, because to be honest, I don't know who a vast amount of these people are because I don't watch, but I do recognize some of them. And I know there's some announcements going to be made tomorrow. And a couple of the hosts are people who have 5e D&D channels that are just basically the same old clickbait 5-minute video. And it's like, yeah, okay. So that's just what I dislike is it's very difficult for you to find actual critical reviews. And when I say critical, I don't mean they're negative. I mean, someone takes a critical approach to whatever they're reviewing. Most reviewers these days, it's all, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. I can't tell you how many times it drives me nuts where I see, once again, won't name any names, but there's one reviewer who every time you turn around, it's like, oh, this is the best tableau building game I've ever played until next month. And then it's some new best tableau building game they've ever played. Come on. So, of course, myself personally, yeah, it's an opinion. All reviews are opinions. I say it all the time. I have a certain way I like running my games, certain things that I like more in adventures and source books and things like that than other things. So obviously enough, it's just an opinion. But I don't think we have enough people anymore who are actually providing you with a legitimate opinion. It's like they've already made up their mind before they open something up that they want to make sure that they get more stuff from that company. So, of course, they're going to try to convince you that it's worth picking up. So, Fleming says someone starting with D and ending with icebreaker. Yeah, that's one of these things that came out. There's money behind that website. There were investors behind that because it's owned by the same group that owns Rock Paper Shotgun. So if you're into PC games at all, and of course, Rock Paper Shotgun has become more of this. You got to be a member to see some of their articles and bullshit like that now. So, yeah, Dicebreaker came out of nowhere. They actually paid for subscribers to their YouTube account. Ooh, did I just say that? Yes, I did. Yeah, that's where they came out of nowhere, and within days, they had tens of thousands of subscribers. So, and yeah, they're another rah-rah, sis-boo-bah. Everything's wonderful, kind of. I don't really care. I just, you know me. I do my thing. I got my little niche. It's not a huge website. It's not a huge channel. I'm an acquired taste. I get that. I am fine with that. But one thing I can tell you is I shoot straight with you and I tell you what I think of stuff. And I even say, hey, I think this company is going to do this or they're going to do that. I could be absolutely wrong on that, but at least I share an opinion with you and I share my legitimate thoughts on games and stuff as well. So Christopher Rush says, well, hey, happy Black Cat Day. I no longer have a black cat. That was Smokey. Yeah. Smokey's been gone a little over 8 months now, or almost 8 months. She had to put her down the first week of the year. That was a bummer. Shane says that they stopped by because I have some of the earliest reviews. Kind of surprising because I always think that I'm slower than most people out there. Anyway, all righty. So that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give the video a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as tomorrow's unboxing and first look at Flashpoint South China Sea from GMT Games. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it happens to be. If you're watching live, thank you very much. Always appreciate you hanging out with me. If you took part in chat, big tip of the cap. Always appreciate you keeping each other company as well, because a lot of times I don't see every chat item that pops up. So Christopher Rush says, oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, the cat thing was an awful way to start the year. My dad's cat and my cat, within 4 days of each other, had to be put to sleep. So yes. But of course, now we've got Mango and Lala. So yeah, it was like, no way am I not having cats. Sorry. It's like, I need little critters to care for. Anyway, so Also, as I was saying, thank you very much if you took part in chat. Of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy life to check out any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Once again, I will be back on Monday, and it is Southlands Week from Cobalt Press all week long on the Dispatch next week. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.